I really like vaults. It's not exactly a secret, it's something that I talk about quite frequently. Vaults are some of my favourite things in Minecraft, both to use and also to construct. So today I want to both use and construct the ultimate Minecraft vault. I really want to go to town here. I want to build up just the best version of a vault my brain can possibly come up with. And just as a pre-video warning, things are about to get very geeky and very nerdy, and there's going to be a lot of vault love in this video. So if you don't enjoy that sort of thing, then maybe find a different video. But for those of you who do enjoy that sort of thing, let's get to business. So my idea for this structure is to almost enclose the vault inside of a bubble. So we're going to have a vault, which this is going to be actually a slightly different kind of vault. I like the idea of something like this. I built it up last night and I was like, that looks really, really cool. And then this little main vault structure is going to be inside of a larger structure, which is going to keep the vault secure. So we're going to have security on the outside and also security on the inside. So essentially it's like a double vault. Now I'm thinking, because this is my absolute dream vault, like the best that I can possibly build, am I allowed to use items that I can't get in survival mode? Things like bedrock and things? I feel like because it's my dream one, I actually can. I don't normally do this, so this is incredibly exciting. Oh, it looks mean already. And things are about to get considerably meaner because I'm about to clear out all of this grass and we're going to have a drop through to the void as our way of creating a defense. Because lava, that's so 2015. Void is where it's at. I really, really wish this sort of thing was possible in survival Minecraft. I mean, it would be totally broken. Like, it shouldn't be possible in survival Minecraft, but I still wish it. Anyway, let's get to work on building up this piston door, and I really hope I've left myself enough space. Now that I think about it, this is actually a bit of a complicated design because everything is going to be retracting down into the floor. There's not going to be any pistons on the top. Everything is just going to be dropped down. Now we should be able to do this using slime blocks and honey blocks, but with that being said, it is a line of quad piston extenders. Quad piston extenders. Okay, that could actually be a bit of a challenge. And what makes it even worse is these aren't just regular quad piston extenders. Because each one of these slices is 12 blocks exactly, we can only push one piston at a time. So for example, with the quad piston extender, we have to fire this piston, this top piston, then we have to fire this piston, then fire that top piston again, then we have to fire this piston, this piston, this piston to get it upwards, and then finally we can shoot the quad piston extender because we're right on the edge of the piston push limit. Now life would be made considerably easier if I remove the end rods because then I could use flying machines instead of quad piston extenders, but I really like the end rods, and I'm not getting rid of them, so we're going to do it the hard way. However, I think I've just thought of something that might make life a little bit easier, and it didn't, but I think I'm on the right track, and I think I can do something with this. I just remove all of this redstone stuff, and all of this, and essentially just leave this bit behind. You see, originally I had a quad piston extender attached to the bottom of this thing, and I couldn't make it work. However, I could just attach a flying machine to this, and then have that bounce back and forth, and then this piston up at the top here is going to be pushing our whole door back and forth. I mean, that works in my head, but then again, a lot of things work in my head that don't work in reality. However, I think this is one of the few things that no, what has occurred here? This is not a good situation. Oh, it's got stuck to itself. That's fine. I can deal with things sticking to themselves because I haven't built the other half. So I know that looked like an absolute catastrophe, but I think it's a good catastrophe, although I'm not sure. Oh, that's not a good sign. So the closing of the piston door is something that I'm fairly certain I have covered. Yeah, that was it. So the piston door is now closed. Now, how are we going to open it? I need to somehow get a redstone input to these observers right here. But then also, I can't place anything in this area. And those pistons will get dragged away by the honey blocks and the slime blocks. We might have to do something a little bit creative here. And although my creative solution definitely will work, I just activated it by accident and I've broken the whole piston door. I love my life. But I think finally I've managed to get it working. Lots of backups have been made, which I think shows my level of confidence here. We've got this little button. This is just a temporary little input. But hopefully, yes. Well, that looked very cool. I think we can all agree that looked very, very cool. And that has all worked. Finally, we have actually got it working. And that is a very satisfying vault door right there. I just love the design of this thing. Okay, let's actually construct the vault itself, which looks something a little bit like this, incredibly industrial and looks incredibly hard wearing. It's honestly such a shame that a block as cool as netherite is the most expensive block in the game. But then also I thought I'd jump a few steps ahead and build up our glass chamber around this thing. So this is the vacuum that our vault sits within, with the void down underneath. So now I've got to build up the security system which allows people access to this vacuum. I mean, it's not very often that I construct self-building bridges that construct themselves over the void. This is definitely a novelty. But it isn't all just for style points. This does actually serve a function. You see these observers right here? I think we should be able to use these observers to activate the piston door. If we can't do that, then we really are we're in a tricky situation, as I haven't really thought of an alternative. This was kind of my plan all along. So the observers go across, they hit the bedrock, and then we take an output from that and run that into the input of our piston door. So as the bridge goes across, as soon as it lands, the door should open, which I think will be one of my favourite moments ever. I mean, come on now. You know, a pop-out bridge that activates a vault. I mean, those are like my two favourite things. And actually, on the redstone side of things, it's fairly similar to how we built up the piston door a little bit earlier on. If I activate this thing, I'm hoping that should activate everything. And that has remarkably worked first time, which is quite exciting. But the retraction was always the easy bit. It's the popping out that's a tiny bit more complicated, because we have to fire this line of pistons first before activating the flying machines. And I think I have a bit of an interesting solution for activating these observers without getting in the way of these slime blocks. And that is through the use of dispensers with flint and steels on the inside. So if I hit this button, that is perfect. That has all gone to plan, and then if I hit the button again, everything just gets retracted away. I can't believe that that's all worked perfectly. As you can probably tell, that doesn't really happen that often. So now it's all about connecting up the output from our pop-out bridge into the input of the piston door, and that is tricky. It's tricky to say the least. I am struggling a tiny bit. However, I think I've made a bit of a breakthrough with this little system right here. I'm just trying my best not to power things and get stuck to things. It's a nightmare. With that being said, I feel like my brain is actually working quite well today, and I have high hopes that this is all going to function. Yes! There's a lot more delay in that system than I was expecting. I was getting ready to be upset, but that has actually worked incredibly well, and that was incredibly cool. And then I think if I hit this button right here, that should close everything up. Now this is attached to an RS snore latch, so if I hit the button again, absolutely nothing should happen. The only way that you can get this door to open is by pushing the bridge across. Cool. Okay, now it's time for some security systems. And I must admit, I got super engrossed with this project and just built it. I'm a terrible YouTube content creator. I've been doing this for more than 8 years now, and I forgot to record any of my progress of me actually constructing this thing. So here's the idea. This is essentially like an advanced ID card system. So currently it's set up just to receive a piece of light blue wool, but obviously we will get a renamed ID card in there in a second if it all does function. But I've hit this button right here. It then makes its way into the chest, and it will sit inside that chest where we're getting a redstone output. So that will activate our bridge that goes across. The card will sit in there while we're going into the vault and things. And then when we remove the item, then this block pops back up. We can't put any items inside the chest, because obviously that would mean that we could activate the system without getting the correct ID card. So this system all seems to work quite nicely. I don't know why I've never thought of doing this before. Now it's all hooked up into our pop-out bridge, so let's see if it all works. Put my ID card in, and I panic, but then I stop panicking because, as I say, weirdly enough, my brain seems to be functioning quite well today. It happens very occasionally, but it all seems to be working. And then let's just make sure when I remove my ID card, everything closes up, bridge gets retracted, all is good. Now that's already a decent quantity of security, but more security is required. You know, we have to remember here, this is the vault of my dreams, okay? This is the vault of my dreams. That's why I'm using these lodestones for just outlines of blocks. I'd never be able to do this in survival. Now this next stage of security is a bit of a strange one, but it's one that I really like. And that is the idea that I'm not allowed to bring anything into the vault. Okay, so I'm not allowed to carry anything with me. I have to clear out my inventory before I go in, and the way that I'm going to force the clearing of my inventory is by dying. So I'm going to kill myself, all my items will drop onto the floor, they'll be picked up by hoppers and things, and they'll be transported to a chest outside of the system, and the only thing that I will be left with is of course my ID card to allow me to go further in. It's almost like going into a prison or some kind of high security area. You're not allowed to just walk in with all your stuff on you. You have to make sure that you clear out your pockets, you show that you don't have anything on you. So that's how we're going to do that in Minecraft. The only issue is we have got 0, and I mean like the square root of 0 space. I mean, I'm trying to work out how I'm even going to do the door that allows us to get into the next area, and also have to send the items across. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if it's going to... That seems impossible. It literally seems impossible. Why do I always do this? I always just cram too much into a small area. It's the story of my life. Right, I think I've come up with a bit of a solution here. So this is going to be our death chamber. That's where we go to die. This is the piston door that will open up once we have died. And this is the shulker box where we're going to grab our ID card from to put into this system, because that is the only item that we're allowed to carry into here. And all of that should be doable. But there shouldn't be anything underneath any of these things that will cause issues. But currently this is very much a Hollywood-style building, and that we have nothing going on in the back. So I've got to start work on that. And how am I actually going to kill the player? What's the best way to kill them? I mean, the answer is pretty obvious, isn't it? It's pufferfish are ridiculous. They're so ridiculous. And I'm so glad I set my spawn, because I just realised I'm in a world where I travelled a long way to get here. And I wouldn't have been able to find it again. I've done many things while making redstone videos, but actually losing a redstone build, that would have been a first. As you can probably hear, my item pickup system is now all in place. I wanted to get as many hopper minecarts in here as possible, because I want to pick up the items as fast as possible to avoid anyone somehow being able to pick up items from the floor and take them through into the system. I mean, you'd have to be incredibly talented to do it with regular hoppers, but still, now there's no chance. And the items from those hopper minecarts then run along like this, across here and into this item elevator, which brings them up into this shulker box that's on the outside of the building. So as soon as you leave this place, then you can grab your items, but I'm going to make it so that as soon as these pressure plates get activated, that door will close. It will force it to be closed, so you can't grab items and then run back through again. Now, I know it's probably a little bit too late in the video to be saying this for the people who are already commenting that you could just break through the glass. I know you can break through the glass, alright? I'm not a complete moron. This is all just for fun. And if you did write that as a comment, congratulations, because you are now a member of the Single Brain Cell Squad. RS Snorlanches and things have started getting connected up, and I must admit, my redstone is getting considerably uglier as the day goes on. The more Minecraft I play, the more sloppy my redstone circuitry gets. But despite it being slightly on the sloppy side, I do believe we are now all completed. So I think it's time for the first test. Now, I must admit, I'm very nervous, but I feel like everything's going to work perfectly. So, I'm walking in. Okay, I've got all the items on me, and unfortunately, that's not going to be the case for much longer, because for this whole thing to work, I actually need to die. You know, I need to make sure that no one is walking in here with TNT or anything like that that could potentially blow up my vault. Now that I've respawned, this piston door has opened up, which allows me to move into this section, and eventually my little ID card should make its way into this shulker box. Now, of course, we do have to wait a little while for this to happen, because it has to sort through all of the items that are in my inventory. But at some point soon, it should arrive. Now, everyone knows, just like real security, for example at an airport, it takes a long time. Alright, it takes a little bit of time, but eventually it arrives in the shulker box. So here is our little ID card, and we can now use this to gain access to the pop-out bridge. So there is the bridge, making its way across over to the vault, and then the vault itself should open upon the bridge reaching this bedrock pillar. So there is that, and inside this chest we have got the things that we are trying to keep incredibly secret. They're the two biggest secrets. We've got the Hermitcraft IP address, and then also obviously the Krabby Patty secret recipe. Don't worry, Mr. Krabs, your secret is safe with me. If I hit this button right here, we should see that all of the vaults will now close up, and if I grab the item from this chest, that will retract our bridge to stop people from being able to make it across, because that would be, yeah, it would be a bad day trying to make that jump. And then if I just run through here and run over these pressure plates, you can see that door closes up and I can get access to my items. So there we go. I think it's safe to say that this is a pretty cool vault. I'm very happy with this thing. It's by far my favorite vault I've ever constructed. But with that being said, I'm not ruling out the possibility that I might make improvements in the future or potentially work on another ultimate vault, because this has been a lot of fun. And I absolutely love vaults. And to be honest with you, there can't be enough ultimate vaults out there. I really do hope that you love vaults as well. If you don't, then please leave my channel and never come back. And I'll catch you in the next video, unless you don't like vaults. 4 people start crying down in the comment section. Don't worry, okay? You are welcome on my channel if you don't like vaults. Simply because I think I can change your mind, okay? And I plan on doing just that by making as many videos as possible on vaults until you're forced to love them. You know, you're going to have to love them. If you like my channel, you're going to have to love vaults, because you're getting only vault content from this point forth.